Yeah.
And then I'll say again, good afternoon, Jan. We have to kick off the
Good
stream,
morning,
right?
Michael. Yeah,
Yeah, how
that's
things
the
been?
wonderful thing. That's the wonderful thing of the internet. Um, there is time difference, but it doesn't matter.
Yep, yep. Doesn't matter. The delay is amazing. It's like the speed of light or something.
Mm. So, do you know the newest news about Chat GPT?
Let's see. So, are you talking about GPT-5? Uh,
No, GPT in general.
okay.
No,
So,
you probably don't know it because it's something in a very small country in Belgium.
okay. Yeah, what's
I'm in
going on in
France,
Belgium?
but I'm still from Belgium.
Uh-huh.
So, what happened? Um, to become a doctor, you have to pass an, before you go to university, before you're admitted, you have to pass an entry test.
Hmm.
And so this entry test is quite severe.
Yeah.
And I think they had a few thousand candidates this year. Um, and if I'm not wrong, last year the results were about 19 or 20% of the students managed to pass the exam.
Mm.
But then you still have to be in the so many best because there is only the best are
Oh.
accepted.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah.
And this year, roughly, I think more than 50% of them passed.
Hmm. How did that happen?
How did that happen? Well,
Hmm.
long ago that exam was on pen and paper, and now it
Uh-huh.
is decentralized, so you can go in a lot of different areas near to your place where you go for to do the exam, and there are
Yeah.
computers, and so you do it on a computer. Only apparently these computers are not secured,
Hmm.
so students can go everywhere. And so now apparently a lot of them use Chat GPT to fill out
Wow.
the exam. And so now it's a big mess.
Oh, yeah.
I think about 20 students already went to court. The guy who's responsible for the whole examination, he
Hmm.
resigned.
Mm.
The minister is blowing hot and cold because the academic year is starting.
Oh, yeah. And we
Um,
haven't resolved who's going to be
yeah,
a freshman this year. Oh, my
about
goodness.
800 years, about 800 students who passed the exam were not admitted because they were not in the best.
Yeah, but they were
So
probably the ones that didn't cheat.
yeah, so people are going to court. It's a big mess.
Mm, wow.
But so you see, ChatGPT is capable because then afterwards they did tests, and indeed, if you ask ChatGPT to fill out the exam, you have a wonderful result.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty much what the benchmarks are. Is these same sorts of really difficult exams that we give people. Um, and I think it's just come down to the fact that the way that you can measure a person using an exam is pretty much memorization and maybe a little bit of application, but very very light application. And those are the two things that the AI is really good at. It can memorize a bunch of facts, and it can apply very light reasoning. Um, so it's like, oh, it sounds like this fact over here would help me solve this problem. So let me bring that fact in, and then A implies B, and then okay, now I've got it.
Well, this week I was digging a little bit into Perl
Mm-hmm.
for something for my work I had to do. And because I don't know Perl at all, so I was just trying to understand the code
Yeah.
to see where the problems were. And I had three different syntaxes with curly braces, with other braces, with quotes,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't find the difference between the three in Google.
Mm.
Because if you start searching with with curly
Oh yeah.
brackets, Google. So I just asked the question in ChatGPT, and immediately you have a nice comparison with the advantages, the disadvantages, everything.
Yep.
So it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I bet it was actually even right.
And it was right.
Yeah. Yeah. This time
Does it
last year,
mean
that was kind of iffy.
doesn't mean that I solved the problem in that Perl code yet. I'm
Mm,
still searching, but
yeah.
okay, it helped me.
Yeah.
So after Cursor last week, what I did was say, okay, we are gonna keep Cursor on a virtual machine,
Hmm.
but I first want to continue with Visual Studio Code, but not on a virtual machine, because I was looking into my code and it's a big mess.
Mm.
One of the reasons is that I have VS Code on a virtual machine. I have Visual Studio on my main machine. So two repositories. And then sometime the model, if I change something in the model, it's in notebooks. So
Mm.
on the
Yeah.
virtual machine. And then I don't want to check it in the public repository yet.
Hmm.
So there is a change there. There is a change on my main machine. So it's a big mess.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I installed Visual Studio Code on my main machine now.
Hmm.
Then it proposed me to have Copilot there,
Uh-huh.
which is, wait, let me see, where is it now? Oh, I closed it. Visual Studio Code, because I still have a little bit issues with all the extensions. Um, let me share that window. I probably missed it when you used it long ago, but okay. Never mind. Yeah, you
Here
see
we
that
are.
one?
Yes, I do.
So, after seeing Cursor, your your explanation of Cursor,
Mhm.
I discovered that I have here my Copilot chat
Yes.
with indeed the agent ask and edit
Hmm.
mode and the different engines. I have Claude, I have ChatGPT 4.1.
Hmm.
So then what is different between this now and Cursor?
Yeah. Yeah, GitHub Copilot was kind of the first to break into this area. Yeah, Cursor forked Visual Studio Code, and um, and they built their entire IDE in Visual Studio Code rather than having it be a plugin. Um, excuse me. And so then they kind of took it in a different direction than Visual Studio Code was going, and so some of the differences that you will see, like there you saw three different modes: ask, edit, and agent. The edit mode you can kind of see the evolution that GitHub Copilot was just completions within the editor, and then they added the chat.
Michael, do you hear me?
I do. Yes. Did you drop?
Because no, the sound was gone and you were freezing. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
so I heard the evolution about edit, but
Yeah.
then you froze.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, edit. So when GitHub Copilot added the chat feature, it was just ask, um, and then they added edit so that you could edit the one file that was open in the editor, um, and then agent was the last one to come in, and that was around the same time that Cursor was doing their tool. So initially it was tab completion, and then they just jumped straight into the agent mode. They kind of skipped over edit because if you're an agent, they can just focus on the first one. So then you'll kind of see as you get used to these two, some things that they're good at, some things that they're not good at. Up until very recently, Cursor was producing better results than GitHub Copilot. It seems that GitHub Copilot has almost caught up, and it also used to be that GitHub Copilot had their own bespoke model. I think it was, well, I think this is true. I might be wrong about this, but I think that they started with one of the OpenAI models, and then fine-tuned it on code. But now all of the foundational models have trained on code, and so now it just uses the foundational models. So in that list that you saw, so right now you see GPT-4.1 is selected. That's not the latest one. There's GPT-5. GPT-5 comes in a couple of different flavors, more than two actually, but the two that you can select are Mini and the full GPT-5. And the full GPT-5 is only available for the paid subscribers. You can see 5 Mini is available in preview.
The other one is probably here.
But
premium.
Premium models.
Yeah.
Then you would have to add a subscription, and then you could have access to those. On the Claude side, so if you open that up again, you'll see that Claude 3.5 Sonnet was there. So at this point, 3.5 is pretty old. 3.7 was kind of the breakthrough. It was the one that really started to produce good results. And now Claude Sonnet is up to 4. Gemini, good for language tasks, but not really good for coding or reasoning tasks. I'll put reasoning in air quotes because I always do. O3 Mini, that's just if you want to do something really fast, really cheap. It's really not good at coding at all. Another big difference is that in Cursor there is the auto mode, and auto will automatically select the appropriate model for the task that it's trying to perform. It also gives Cursor a bit more control over over when they're going to limit you and push you down into a lower end model, and that's so that they can control their costs and therefore control the subscription fee that they charge you. But if you override that and you go straight to one of the premium models, then it'll eat up your tokens faster, and then they will start charging you over and above the $20. So I keep it on auto. I think it does a pretty good job. Okay,
so that's one of the differences here. We don't have this auto mode.
Yeah.
So if we want to have a powerful model, you have to subscribe for that particular model.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, because the advantage I saw in VS Code was to avoid having these non-approved extensions, and also, if I heard well last time, you said Cursor don't have full C# support yet.
Right. Yes. That is. I'm not certain about all the details about that, but the C# extension is a really comprehensive extension from Microsoft. It has the language support, it has IntelliSense and debugging and all of the things that you would need for doing C# development in Visual Studio Code. When Cursor first forked Visual Studio Code, it was able to access the Microsoft extension marketplace. Microsoft then restricted access to the marketplace so that only proper Visual Studio Code could access it, and that was so that they could control they could vet all of the extensions that were in there, they basically controlled that walled garden. And so when Cursor brings in an extension, some of the extensions work in Cursor as well, if the extension isn't doing anything too intrusive. But But yeah, some of the extensions don't work, and I don't know if it's specifically because Microsoft put in a constraint there that it has to be signed a certain way, and they if it's just deliberately no, this won't work in anything but Visual Studio Code, or if they're doing something even more deeply integrated. So I'm not sure about the details with that, but the upshot is that you can't use the full C# extension in Cursor. That said, I have found that editing .NET code in Cursor is just fine, because you've got the .NET command line, and Cursor is really good at writing .NET commands. So yeah, I don't really miss that much. And I've never really been a big debugger kind of a person. So I'm actually not even sure if the debugger works in Cursor or not, if they figured out a different way to make that work. But yeah, I just tend not to rely on the debugger, and instead, write a unit test if I run into a problem.
Okay. For the moment, I'm gonna try it in VS Code and see where it gets me. At least because I'm even wondering. I'm having difficulties now to get the GitHub code nicely in order. And I'm a bit on the point of saying, okay, just make it work and then commit it, and from there on start nice again.
Yeah, that is a good strategy. Technical debt is there for a reason.
Yeah.
If you don't,
otherwise it's gonna be so much copying and pasting, and then what did I mention here? Okay, so I wanted to have a single repository that I use from VS Code and from Visual Studio. That's okay, or?
Yes. So yeah, I think there's actually a few things that you can do to make your experience better there. So yeah, having first of all, having one workspace, one folder that you open in Visual Studio and in VS Code, that works just fine. And in fact, you can have them both open at the same time, make edits, and the other one will see your edits
automatically.
Yeah. In fact, this was one of the things that we talked about back when I was an MVP, and way back in the olden days, when there was a tool called Blend. I was really big into XAML, WPF, the kind of stuff we were doing now, but it was new at the time, and so I was a big fan of Blend, and so I'd have Visual Studio open and Blend open, and I remember the year at the MVP Summit that I complained that the two didn't synchronize well. That you make a change over here, and then when you pop over to the other one, if it did notice the change, it would prompt you every time. It said, "Hey, this file has changed on disk. Do you want to reload it?" And I'm like, "Of course I do. I always do. The answer is always yes." So yeah, after that year, they changed the dialogue a little bit so that you could always say yes. But yeah, then since then, they've been really working on that fluid experience, that what you see in the editor and what you see on disk are kept nicely in sync, so that you can just switch from one tool to the next, and it's just like, oh, you edited it, here it is. So yeah, that works really well with Visual Studio Code.
They must be using historical modeling behind the scenes.
Yeah, that would be nice, but historical modeling and file systems. You make a change to a file. You've changed the projection. You've changed the current state, and you have to infer what the change meant. That's very difficult. So yeah, if they change the file system to be historical modeling, hey, this would all be really easy. It would just be a CRDT. You just I made this change, and yeah, then they could support offline files with the sync, and they could do live editing. You just open up the sorts of things that are built into applications, like built into Word. If two people open the same Word document from OneDrive, then the things talk to each other and make that happen. But it's like, no, that would just be built into the operating system. That would be awesome. But yeah, so that's one thing you could do. Yeah, have the two point to the same folder. Another thing that could help with the virtual machine and the host machine, because you aren't quite ready to check something into the public repository, what you could do is set up a bare repository on the host machine, and then have that in a folder that you mount to the virtual machine. And so with that,
synchronize between the two.
Yeah. So now they both see that bare repository as an upstream, as a remote, and so you can just push and pull against that, and then you can push from the bare repository up to GitHub. So yeah, I would probably set that up so that in the virtual machine that was origin and that was the only remote. So you have to push everything up to your bare repository in your host, and then from your host, when you clone it, that would be that would be upstream, and then origin would be GitHub. So you can pull from upstream, make sure everything works, and then push to GitHub. Yeah. That's probably the way that I would set it up. But
and now I think I will leave that that virtual machine out of the
okay.
the chain finally.
Yeah. Having code here,
unless I need what is it, WSL? No, L, Windows Subsystem for
WSL,
Linux.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that one I don't want to set up on my main machine.
Yeah.
Because in the end everything is gonna get messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But for the moment, for DWS, it should not be a problem as far as I can see.
Yeah, there is no Linux in DWS. Yeah, this is all WPF. Yeah, if even when we get to the mobile app, at that point you'll be using Maui, and yeah, that's still also something that you would want to do straight from Windows. Yeah, and then at one point we will be running a replicator, so you'll want to run that in Docker. So that sounds like something you want to do from your host machine. But yeah, that doesn't require Linux either. You can just use use Docker Desktop on Windows, and it'll host the replicator, which is a Linux container. But Docker Desktop on Windows runs Linux containers just fine.
Okay. And anyway, nothing is final.
Yeah.
In IT. And then the extensions. Yeah. With MCP server. Yeah.
Yeah, you can click on that and it'll close it, so you can see the little. Oh no, these are the recommended. Okay, now I see. Yeah.
The first thing what I did was the C# dev install, and in the documentation it says it automatically installs C# and .NET install.
Yeah.
Which I saw in the virtual machine, but here nothing.
Oh, interesting.
Unless I restarted VS Code, and then it came up.
Oh, okay.
Then I say, okay, in my virtual machine I have Jupyter notebooks and I have Polyglot notebooks. So which one was it? And I thought first it was Jupyter, then it was Polyglot. So I say, okay, let's install the last one, Polyglot.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry because he installs both of them automatically.
And that is correct, yes.
And so from one to the other. Then I still have, in my virtual machine, I have a print extension. For a print extension for rendered Markdown, for Markdown files.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds handy.
Do you print them in a different way or not?
Yeah,
Or you
I
never print
don't.
them?
Yeah, I don't really print the Markdown files. So actually, I have been looking for a nice, convenient way to print a GraphViz diagram that takes up more than one page, and I haven't found it yet. So I think I'm gonna build it at some point. But yeah, so break it apart, print multiple pages, and then you can stick it on the wall. But yeah, I haven't done that with Markdown. So yeah, I think that would be handy to have. Now, of course, my book is written in Markdown, and I did do a lot of printing on that, but I ran it through a few different steps, which is way overkill for this. But yeah, I wrote it in Markdown, and then I ran that through Gatsby so that I could see it formatted. And then I had some Gatsby plugins that did all the, they turned the special symbols into, the capital E's into, exist symbols and that kind of stuff. And then I ran that through Pandoc in order to produce a Word document that was styled the way that the publisher wanted. And then I could print the Word document. Sometimes I would print that to PDF and then put that onto my into my reader, and then I could just sit there and read it. But yeah, way overkill. So yeah, I haven't tried that plugin.
You can do for the graphics diagrams.
Yes.
If I'm not wrong, you can export them as a GIF file or SVG file.
Yeah. Yes, and there is a yeah. So you would first of all want to install the GraphViz command line. So you can do that from the graphviz.org. Let's see if I can find that. I think it's graphviz.org. Yeah.
Perhaps I didn't do it from the Jupyter files, but I have graphics on my computer as well.
Oh, you do? Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, then...
Right, let me see that one. And there you can just click in the code, the graphics code. Then it gives you the diagram. And the diagram you could save, if I'm not wrong, as a PNG, for example.
Yes. Yeah, you can do that through the plugin or the extension. Yeah, you're right. I will typically do that from the command line using the dot command in GraphViz.
And once you can print that PNG, you print it to a PDF file.
Mm-hmm.
If you have it on, for example, an A4 PDF with Acrobat, you can print it on multiple pages, so you can split it.
Okay, Acrobat will do that.
Yeah, Acrobat permits to enlarge and to print for example, an A4 on 4 A4s.
Okay.
And even have some small overlaps.
Okay. Yeah, I will try that workflow.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
Long ago, there was a tool that I used, which is called Poster Printer.
Oh yeah, I tried that one. Yes.
Yeah, but that's years ago, so I don't know. And today, if I have to do that, I just use Acrobat PDF.
Okay.
That's the easiest way. Let's see, what else did I have? Where are my extensions here? Okay. Come on, yeah. C#, the Polyglot. I also had an extension for bookmarks in Visual Studio Code.
What does that one do?
Which allowed me to place bookmarks.
Okay.
Is that something that is already available in Visual Studio Code or not yet? Bookmarks.
I don't think it is. It's not a feature that I used an awful lot in Visual Studio, so I've not tried it.
Yeah, I had a graphics preview. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there other extensions which you use which are useful?
Yeah, I think this might be the one that you just mentioned, but where you can view a GraphViz diagram inside of Markdown, right? So when you do the Markdown preview, the GraphViz is rendered. Is that what that one is for?
I think so. It's an extension for Visual Studio Code to preview graphics.files. Requires graphic to be installed.
Okay. Is that the Joao Pinto?
No, it's EFUN ZH.
Okay. Yeah, there was. Yeah, my favorite one is the one by Joao Pinto, and he took it down for a little bit, and then I think put it back up, but maybe took it back down again. I don't know. It's in a strange state. I have to give people an exact URL in order for them to be able to install it these days. And now there's a whole bunch of GraphViz extensions. Like, well, no, that's the good one. So yeah, I think this is the one that I consider second best. But
I will have a look at that.
Yeah,
I think that one from Pinto, I have heard about it. I used it in the past probably, but perhaps he removed it. I don't know anymore. Okay, then so far the extension, so that should be okay. Did I? Oh yeah. Another thing. So looking into Polyglot and to Jupyter, the difference was also that Polyglot introduced the DIB extension, which didn't exist in Jupyter Notebooks.
Yes, correct.
And the DIB extension has the advantage of being smaller because the result of the processing is not inside. Yeah, so you run a notebook, it shows you the results, and they are not stored. So every time you load a DIB package, you have to rerun the result. But then I remember one time we had a discussion about the EPYNB files in source control. Because that's really a mess to compare.
Yes.
But so I guess in DIB, it should work fine to compare because there are no results stored.
Yes, yeah, that is what I found. And so I actually will choose IPYNB if I want to put this on GitHub and have people just go straight to that file and see the output. So GitHub will render the output, which is really nice. But yeah, DIB much easier to merge because you don't have the output.
Yeah.
And the real pain is it increments a version number or a number of runs. It's like what's that good for?
So perhaps for DWS, it should be better to save them as DIB.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm gonna do then. Okay, no more questions, I think. So that's the little progress I made. Further cleaning up the code, and then I hope that I can check in like one code version, a single branch. I say, okay, that's where I am now, and from there onwards, because now there are so many different versions.
Yeah. There's we need to get back to that. Need to make a plan and make some progress toward the new version.
Well, the latest state was that we got into the user interface
Mm-hmm.
for adding tasks, but then that user interface, I was making it every time more and more complicated
Uh-huh.
to an extent that I say, okay, forget for a while about the user interface and let's code.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise it's going to be too complicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Okay. So there was something I was thinking about. Uh, so let me share and
Publish, yeah.
yeah. Don't. I've got multiple sharing turned on, so that works just fine. All right. There we go. Okay. So, so when we create a specification inside of our view model, like this one here, do the Jinaga client.watch, and then on added, we add this, all of these client names to. Or here we're just overloading or overriding the string, or just overwriting it each time. Same with the yard name, but yeah, here we are. Oh no, that's not a collection either. But yeah, this one here is a collection. So yard view model, add that yard. So there's a lot of overhead to make this happen. So yeah, first of all, this yard view model, that is using the observable excuse me, observable object-based class from Community Toolkit MVVM. And we have to declare all these properties, and then set them in this yard factory, which actually is dependency injected. So so the IOC container is able to resolve, how do we create this from that, and that's really so that it can pass in that yard as a parameter. But the difficulty here that I'm seeing is that you're repeating information multiple times. So, like here, for example, client name. The fact that this has a client name is apparent right here. So we've got client names as an observable. So this gives you back a collection of strings. So we've got client names dot select, and we're selecting the value. So that's a collection of strings. That's a collection of strings, and then we are we're capturing those values here, and then with the thing that we put these into, this yards collection out here, this is an observable collection, and so there's code inside of our view models that mirrors the structure of our projections to some extent. Now, there is this slight difference that the projection is a collection and the view model is a single value, and so here we're using a pattern in order to get the the most recent value. Implementing last writer wins on that. But if we compare that with, let me pull up, like for example, GameHub. Let's take a look at how that same thing happens in React. So, let's see. So I want the player app. Let's go to the home page. That's a good one. So use home page. Here's our custom hook. Use player playgrounds. Yeah, let's go with that one. So yeah, here we've got our specification. So, pretty similar in kind of the structure complexity as this one here. So it's just this is written in TypeScript versus this is written in Link. But they mean roughly the same thing. And so you end up with a projection, and now once you've got that projection, then you just use specification, and then you get back this this type that's inferred from the projection. So it's going to be an array of objects that have playground code joined at playground and player hashes. And so it just inferred all that from here. The same sort of type inference is happening here. So so it knows that the projection is a yard, an observable collection of client names, collection of yard names, and a collection of yard addresses. And then even yard addresses is also inferred. So that's the tick B. That's street, number, postal code, city, country. So it's doing some similar type inference. The problem is that whereas in React we can now immediately start using this this type right here, and we can do things like .map in order to to run some code on each element of the array and get back this this array here. Whereas in this case, we have to first go through the .watch and do this mapping into a type that we have declared somewhere else. So we're not able to continue with the type inference. You have to kind of interrupt that, declare a type, so that you get the observable object. So I've been trying to figure out how do I get the same kind of experience that you can have here of just using a specification versus having to write a view model first and then use .watch in order to fill that view model. So does that problem make sense? Do you see the same sort of
Indeed.
Okay. Yeah. So the things that I'm thinking about, so first of all, why does this work in React but not in XAML? And the reason it works in React is that by the time we've gotten here, we have done all of the change detection. So use specification is a wrapper around .watch, and so when the model changes, a new fact is introduced, and .watch will fire in exactly the same way as we are seeing here. But use specification is able to live in the completely dynamic JavaScript world. And it says, okay, I have no idea what the types are, but this new projection came out, and so, hey, look, that's a string. I'll just copy that string. Oh, that one is a collection, so it must be one of these things, and so I will just implicitly do an on-added and look for, just recursively look for changes further down the chain. So the fact that JavaScript is a dynamic language really helps with that. So it's really here the fact that we're trying to get to a strongly typed view model that is causing us to kind of interrupt that, and we have to explicitly write that view model. Type inference only works within the scope of one function. So I've declared this specification, and I've gotten type inference on this specification, but if I can pack all of that behavior into this function, then I could continue that type inference to some degree. The problem is that whereas C# has generics, so you can take an inferred type and put that inside of a generic parameter, and now you get a generic of an inferred type. That's not quite enough to do this kind of thing. So TypeScript has an even stronger construct, which is really weird, that TypeScript, being built on a dynamically typed language like JavaScript, has a stronger type inference construct than you get in C#. But that is the world that we're in. If you follow this through, use specification, is it going to, I think it'll probably give it to me. Yeah, like right here. Specification result of T projection. Wait, no, that's not it. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, projection of T specification. This does some really cool type inference. So this is, it looks like a ternary operator, but this runs during compile time. So it checks to see, does T specification extend specification of some type? I don't care what it is. Unknown is like, I don't care. Versus any, which is, could be anything. Unknown is like, I don't really care. But, specification of some type, and then we infer T projection in order for to satisfy specification of. And so if it extends specification of, then take that inferred T projection and use that. How do we infer the T projection from specification of? And for that, we have to go down into here. So a specification of T to U is saying this is a specification that takes some type givens and then produces some projection. And so where is it in here? Yeah, we've got our yes, we're using that here. Yeah, I think this is ultimately where it goes. Specification result. Yeah. So you can see that this is a recursive type inference operator. So we're going to say specification result of some type U. Well, if it's a label, then infer what it's the label of, and then cast it to that type. So that's if your projection is projecting an actual fact. Now give us that fact. If it's a traversal of some type, traversal means that we are doing a select many kind of a thing. And so the V that it's inferring here is going to be the projection of that traversal. And so now we get an array of specification results recursively on that projection type. So it unpacks that recursively. And then, if it's, some object, then that means that we are doing a projection of, let's see if we can show. Yeah, we're doing a projection like this. So that's just an object, and it's got these different keys. So we just go through each one of those keys, and we produce another object that is the specification results of each one of those values. So it'll basically recursively run this and give you back something that has playground code, and then since that's a string, it falls through here and it just says, okay, return string. That one is a string. This one is a label of playground, and so that means it stops right here, and then it projects that to playground. Player hashes is a traversal of string, because we're doing a select mini thing going down from there. And so that means, whoops, that follows this one, and it gives us back an array of string. So that way it's able to convert one type that is inferred into another type that's inferred. And we don't have that in C#. That would be really cool if we did.
One day.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I understand the reason that we have this in TypeScript. TypeScript is JavaScript. A lot of people say that, or at least have said that TypeScript is JavaScript for C# developers, and that's not true. It's JavaScript for JavaScript developers. These are all the things that you would have expressed in the dynamic language JavaScript, but now this is just giving that form of expression to the to the author. So I can tell you what this means, and so it has to have this this kind of a type system, which this type system, if it's not Turing complete, it's approaching Turing completeness. I think maybe it actually is Turing complete. So you can compute inside of this type system. And you have to be able to do that in order to express all of the richness of types. It's a funny thing to say, that you can express in JavaScript. Whereas in C#, you don't need to do that because you explicitly declare your types. This is kind of related also to declarative typing versus nominal typing. Nominal typing means that or is it structured? Wait, structural typing. Yeah, structural typing versus nominal typing. So structural typing is anything that has this structure. Like once it gets to here, anything that has that structure is that type. That type itself doesn't have a name. And so that means it can escape the function, and I can pass that to other functions. And if I wanted to declare that somewhere else, then I could give it a name and it could use it. It would be just fine. In fact, I do that in some cases where I say, okay, I want to do something a bit more complicated. Let's extract that, make it its own custom hook, and then that's the type I pass, is an array of objects that have playground code joined at playground and player hashes. But yeah, in C#, even if I could convert this into an array of these inferred types, I wouldn't be able to give those a name later and then have this thing match that type, because it's nominally typed. The type is based on the name that you give it. And inferred types don't have names. It just gave it the names, tick A and tick B. So I'm thinking in order to accomplish what I want to accomplish, I need to put aside the strong typing for view models and instead just dive straight into dynamic typing, which you can get if you use the dynamic keyword, or you use reflection, or just treat things as object. So in fact, the way that this is all in links, so you can see from where select. That's all iQueryables. So there's a query provider that in its declaration gives you back iQueryable of this type, but then in its execution, it builds things up by emitting code using reflection, so that now when you execute it, it runs the emitted code. So you do have that power. It's just that the thing that you get back, you wouldn't be able to give that type a name, and so now you are inside of, you're either inside of one function, or you give it a more generic name. Now, not using the generics in terms of the language feature, but a name that doesn't reveal what's inside of it. Like if I just called it view model, and it's like, okay, I can take a view model and I can stick that into a field. So it's like, instead of this specific type here, yard view model, it would just be, hey, view model. I don't know what's in it, and that might actually be okay. And the reason I'm thinking that's okay is that if we take a look at how this is used, so first of all, this is all doing code generators. So MVVM toolkit that gives us observable object is doing, it's running a code generator. Live while we are editing this file, it's generating code. So observable property, it sees that. It says, okay, let me create a property with the capital C client name, and implement iNotify property changed on that. And that actually is what we see whenever we do this. That's why we're seeing two of them. This one is the generated code. And so we see all of those implementations. So now we can actually see the references to this. Unfortunately, it's not popping up. Let's see if I can find all references. Yeah.
Works.
Okay, here we go. So from this is where I can see, there's one reference where I'm assigning the postal code. And that's precisely the reference that I want to get rid of. I want that to be automatic. What other references do I have? I've got, this one is interesting. This is one that I don't think I can get rid of, because whenever you select a yard, we need to change something else. So we've got kind of some reactive code happening behind the scenes. It's not really reactive, but it's reacting to events. It's reacting to the user changing things. So I do want to be able to do that. So if I just gave it some generic type like view model, I wouldn't be able to access the postal code property of that type unless I gave it a dynamic type. And then if I use the dynamic keyword, then I could say .postal code, but you wouldn't get any type checking on that. It would just be, well, I hope that there's a postal code on it. So that might be an option there too.
So you lose the automatic type checking.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, but what you mostly do with view models is you bind them to views. So here's our, there's our view models, but our views are up here. Like here's our new task dialog. So in here, somewhere inside of this XAML, we will find postal code. Right there, we do a binding to postal code. And you get IntelliSense here because it knows the type of the view model. So right here, we're giving it the, this is the one right here. We're giving it the data type yard view model. So by doing that, we're telling the XAML IDE, give this IntelliSense, assume that it's going to be a yard view model. So again, with that nominal typing, I give it the name, and now I can see the properties. Doing this, you wouldn't be able to give it a name, and so you wouldn't put this line up here, and you wouldn't get any IntelliSense for the binding. But the binding would still work. this is only for the IDE. This data type is not, I believe, enforced at runtime, and certainly I know if it's not there, these bindings will still work because they will use reflection. My belief is that that binding always uses reflection unless there's a different kind of binding that is compiled. I forget exactly what they call it. It might be called a compiled binding. I don't remember for sure, but those don't use reflection. But yeah, the binding that we use most of the time, that we know and love, it's all based on reflection. iNotify property changed itself is based on reflection because it's just telling you the name of a property that changed. So you have to get the name of the property, subscribe, pass in that name, and then you'll get notified. So you lose some things, but you gain some things. Yeah, that would become dynamic code. But then you don't have to run this you don't have to write this type at all. Yeah, in this case, we're actually using this type in order to implement the toString. Yeah, so I don't know if I could get that back. We're using this type in order to pass the yard through. So when you select one of these view models, you are implicitly selecting a yard. I probably will be able to generate a dynamic type that has that, because that's part of the projection. So I don't know. This is kind of the path that I'm thinking. Yeah. How can I make that experience as fluid as this one?
It would change quite a lot of code. Code that we don't need anymore then.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. And does assistant come back into play when I do this? Because it would be really nice for for this to be the observable objects from assistant, the independent, if we were going back to update controls terminology. And then things like this could be a computation based on those observables that that gives you computed. Because you still have to be able to do this kind of transformation. So you've got projection, and then you've got transformation, and then you bind. So that's got to go somewhere. Does it become an assistant thing? Do I just bring the guts of assistant into this new library? I don't know. But food for thought. So as you're going through all of the the next steps, just kind of keep in mind, hey, is this something that could be better if we had an extra tool? And then let's use that as data.
That's a good way to write the code and then throw away the code and write something that is better.
Yep. Yep, exactly.
No, it might be very useful because now we only have, I think, 2 screens. By the time we have the whole application, we would still have to write it and write it again. So
yeah,
it might be something quite interesting. All right, I will keep that in mind while going through the code. And dumping all the code in one big repository and then commit it and then continue from there.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jan.
We see each other next week.
Yes, indeed. Well, let me just double check because I know I do have some stuff coming up. But yeah, next week is still good. Yeah, I think I don't think that. Oh, okay, yeah, there is one thing coming up toward the end of September, so September 25th. I will be going to Las Vegas with the improving group. So,
A party.
yep, yep. That's we. It is a party, but it also is a place that especially since we've been growing, we are able to do a lot of work that we can't do during the regular year. Work on our culture, work on building connections across enterprises, and in fact, we've booked the meeting space in the Planet Hollywood Hotel. So we'll actually have classes in that meeting space. I'll be teaching at least one class on AI, probably two, and then we bring this is our chance to actually come together, practice the thing, build some skills, build some connections, build trust with each other.
It's work hard and have fun together.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you're a big group, it's necessary to see each other in person from time to time.
Yes, it is.
Ask all of them to come to this historical modeling meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of historical modeling, improving use over the years, and that's really helped me to develop the teaching
Direction.
side of thing. And make sure that I remember some of the earlier ones that I did is like all sorts of setup. I was like, okay, because of all that, now it's a Docker image, and now I've got the Game Hub repository, and so things have gotten a lot cleaner to get started on a historical modeling class. But there's still a lot of friction, and at this point now it's like I just need Factual Studio. That's that is going to be the teaching tool. So,
it's the next big thing.
Yep, I got to get that thing done. Got to get it started, really.
Okay. Michael, see you next week.
Indeed. See you then.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.